Okay. Good. I believe I have managed to successfully restart the simulcasting. So that's what happens when you cut out on Twitch. The whole thing falls apart. Oh, very not cash money, but oh well, we've managed to resolve it, and we can return to actually playing the beautiful game. Right. So I did find the pouch, but it was so... what's the word? Inconsequential that I didn't even realize it. I should tell the woman about her pouch. She's just on the edge of the yard, keenly observing you, and as you approach her, she once again leads you further away from the gate, this time behind a turf house. She reaches out to you with an open palm and speaks quietly. May the right bless you, stranger. I could lie and give her 10 dragon bones, but I don't have that much. The pouch was torn and rotten here. The only dragon bone I could find. The only dragon bone I found. I'm sorry, the pouch was completely rotten and there were no dragon bones to pick, just snails. Yeah, I think this is more appropriate. She looks at the sky, then to the ground. For 2 heartbeats, she can't stop herself from revealing the despair in her eyes, but she then adjusts her headscarf, takes a deep breath, and moves her shoulders. I have not even a fistful of blueberries to thank you, stranger, but I'll tell the rest of the village you're a trustworthy messenger. If anyone asks, hardly anyone does around here. She hobbles away, splashing mud with every step. I return to my bundles. Ah. Oh. I love how, well... I guess I'll find out for the next stream, but I did adjust the bitrate settings to lower them, and it seems like it didn't do anything. Oh well. Let's put that down to... You can tell every time I press 0 on my keyboard, can't you? He doesn't trust me enough to let me see Orenthius. 1 sec. With Twitch, there's a hard cap for how high they allow the bitrate before it hampers your stream. Yes, I read up on that, and it's 6,000. Ah, yes, now I see it. It's lowering the bitrate. It's streaming at 5K now. It used to be 6K. Yes. At least it's streaming higher than it was before. I think before it was streaming at 3.5 or something. So I think 4,500 is a good... middle point. At the very least, that is with the assumption that my cutting out on stream happened because of the high bitrate. I don't actually know what happened. It could have just been a random disconnected occurrence. Who knows? Who knows? This is still new streamer territories. This is only week 3? How long have I been streaming for? 4 weeks. This is week 4. I've been streaming for 4 weeks. There's still growing pains. Twitch does like to disconnect randomly from time to time to keep you on your toes. So far it's happened twice over the course of my career. This is the second time. We love Twitch. According to what the old druid told me, the highwaymen bother you much more severely than you led me to believe. So you're bothering other people with these questions as well. He scowls at you, but carries on. Glousy is angry with us. Took our food and tools, beat our foragers, broke our traps, but we don't need a stranger's guidance. The people of Old Pegasus are fighting a plague. Fuck! He looks at the dark clouds and sighs. Who, kids, elders? While you speak, the nearby villagers stop their work, and even the undead are told to freeze in place, offering your ears a bit of relief. You answer a lot of questions, making the muddy square even more grim. You hear someone weeping and a young woman announcing, "'Tis not fair even for them." The mayor nods in agreement, keeping the axe on his shoulders. I'll tell Orenthius, from now on, we'll gather our wood chips and twigs in a shed. He raises his voice, looking into his tribe's eyes. We may have enough for them before winter. Ooh. That's nice of them. I could tell him about the woman that asked me to find her savings. I am not going to do that. Farewell. I go to Helvius. I don't go to Helvius. I believe I have accomplished things. The wetlands are dangerous. The wetlands get dangerous an hour earlier. Neat. Where are we? Oh, I completed 2 quests today, and it's not even been well, it's technically been an hour, but what else can I accomplish in this time? The tunnel leading through the northern mountains is closed. Opening the gate would make this route safer. The eastern path. Ella wants me to get to know the roads that connect Foggy Lake with both the western roads and the southern roads. I cleared the statue south of Foggy's place. I don't think humans should disturb the dusk foxes. I'll receive dragon bones. Is the one here, I think? Probably. Oh yes, I actually do have a journal with characters. Yes, the 2 men from the creeks, yes. Ella is the carpenter, yes. So that was the creeks bunch. Tulia is my contact for Havlaven. The enchantress, Asterion, Akakios. A traitor. Glaucia is the big baddie. I'm so glad they have a glossary of all the characters, because I'm not good with memory. I don't have a brain, technically speaking. I am consciousness held through magic. I shouldn't be held accountable for all the things I forget. Right, so I was checking which quests to do, and I got distracted. Oh yes, clearing the path. There was one to... Wait, didn't I do that? I think I did that already. Hidden pouch. Glaucia's banned. Fetching food. Quintus won't let me use the gate he keeps unless I bring him 5 food rations. I don't have 5 food rations, but at least I know that it's not impossible to acquire more food rations through scavenging. Oh yes, I also have to find Asterion. Fetching food. Looks like the bandits have been especially harsh towards White Marshes. No brain seems a reasonable excuse for bad memory. A glossary of the characters is super useful, though. Yes, I very much agree. I think it's very nice that I have this panel that if I forget a character or who they are, I can very quickly see who they were. And also groups and bestiaries and glossaries for different things. This game is very well thought out and very well packed, and I am very grateful for that, considering that this is sort of the first text-based RPG that I'm giving a proper go at. So I am very happy with it thus far, as somebody who is not keenly well-versed in this this genre of games. The biggest experiences that I have with these kinds of games are visual... what is it? I forgot what they were called. What is it? My brain... They're not... Is it visual novels? It's like, visual novel, yes. I guess that's what they are. I looked up the Steam page for Doki Doki Literature Club to see the user-defined tags, the biggest one being psychological horror. But he has visual novels, so my biggest experience is with visual novels. I do want to play... I want to hug that gator eventually, soon, someday. But for now, I think I'm going to do this and Last Epoch until I finish this game, and then I'm going to start on different ones, but we'll see. I don't know how much of a variety streamer I want to be, but I want to play the shit out of Last Epoch, so that's what is reflected in the schedule. I am rambling. And I completely distracted myself once again from what I want to do. What do I want to do? I spoke with Elvis about meeting. I should report back to Thais. Okay, so I can go back to Thais and talk to her. I do like the notion of being a road warden, because when you learn things, you can go around all the big places and say what you learned. I actually have enough time to go back to Tulia's camp, so let us return to Tulia's camp. We ride to Tulia's camp. Tulia, I have learned many things. Tulia welcomes you with a nod. Still alive, I see. The soldiers are splitting logs into firewood and stripping a tree trunk from its branches, But yes, I sort of accidentally stumbled into writing lore that excuses my inability to be intelligent. It's not my fault I'm brain dead. I literally don't have a brain. I'm a decapitated horse with a ram skull where the head should be, being held together by magic. It's not my fault. Magic's a bit weird and twisty. Being held together by magic duct-taped in dreams doesn't help in the intellectual department. I have more questions. She smiles gently. She doesn't trust me enough to tell me about her squad's mission. Do you have an idea about what happened to the ruined village in the west? Nah. There were goblins around the walls, so we never went there. But I was told that the wrath of the herds crushed it. Maybe 10 years ago. Her companion agrees with a nod. If there were any survivors, they are surely gone by now. Maybe they moved to other settlements or left the peninsula. Or they got caught by bandits. Did you ever enter the road leading through the heart of the woods? Have you ever encountered the bandits from the north? She lets out a sad sigh. So there are other bandits in the woods after all. Her companion hits his forehead with his palm. This peninsula really hates us. We can't make a dent in its shell. Tulia puts a hand on his shoulder, then looks back at you. Thanks for telling us, Roadwarden. If I survive long enough to report to someone, I'll be sure to mention it. Good idea. Tulia, how did you become a lieutenant? Did you ever enter the road leading through the heart of the woods? Oh, we were advised not to. Have you seen this huge gate in the west, made of rocks, very tall? We've met a guard there named Quinton, maybe. A kind soul, but a bit slow. He almost begged us not to enter the woods, so we took the longer route. That's where all the settlements are, anyway. Her companion chips in. We didn't miss much. I see. Shoot. I should report back to Tulia, but it's not giving me the option to report back to Tulia. Anything I should know about this camp? The story is brief. And some merchants built the camp, have an extra stop for mules and donkeys just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. Havlaven would need more people who'd be willing to get rid of the local threats. How did you become a lieutenant? She assassinated the previous lieutenant. Leadership succession, she guesses. So you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped in to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shield. Really unpleasant. Oh, They got killed by a frost grenade. And jumping in like that to save a man in the middle of an attack doesn't sound like a wise decision. And you were the third one in line, is that right? Basically, she says without enthusiasm, I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyway. Oh, fair enough. After another pause, I decide it's a good moment to change the topic. Thanks. I approached a barrel of water. I wash my shell. Yes, cleanliness. I step away. And it's time to sleep. Oh, not the greatest of sleep. Oh well, slumber. The shivers wake you up. You hear the soldiers gathering outside. The fog is so dense you hardly see the wall around you, and the screeches of beasts are so distorted you can't tell them apart. I stay inside, hoping there are no curses carried by the fog. Delightful. Your back begs you to stand up. A monkey not larger than your head, with brown and yellow fur, is running on the beams of the wall, but disappears once it notices your gaze. You prepare Dave for the journey ahead. It is time for me to go. To where, I do not know. Creeks had no issues with the bandits. The bandits are extremely harsh on white marshes, and Gale Rocks won't tell me nothing. I think that the tree was cut down to set an ambush. Oh yes, the fallen tree. Where is the fallen tree? The fallen tree, there's the fallen tree. I am curious about what this is. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous and precipice. Oh, and meanders between treacherous precipices. Reading. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibexes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you a roaming mountain cat. Oh, that's what it was, a mountain cat, pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. Let's hope that the echo of hooves won't reach any larger beasts. The path leads you down again to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remains of the path, covered with greenish puddles without the roots, and with a fresh layer of pebbles it may still be restored. You look behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far. But if you hope to clear this place, it'd be better to do so soon. It'll only get denser with the passage of days. I have time to spare. I should be done in more than 2 hours. Oh my. Your muscles, not used to such tiring work, grow tired quickly, so you take a few short breaks, avoiding the thorns and dirty water. When it comes to pushing aside the boughs, you breathe heavily, but you need only enough space to let your palfrey get through. Maybe the animals will start to roam this place again, beating the path. I am the road maker. Powerful Hobo. You reach a convenient mountain pass with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road. The only beasts you spot are loud rooks, glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Do I have a bestiary for rooks? No, I do not. Clearing the rock slide would take hours of work and a large group of people, while forcing Dave to climb up and down could break its legs. Ooh. I dismount and look around. You climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move even an inch. As you get closer to the small dead tree, you notice something odd among the stones. Pieces of old fabric completely covered with mold, most likely the remains of a tunic. All I can do now is turn back. A rock slide. Absolutely delightful. What are we doing? Where are we going? Who are we dealing with? I do not know. I can get the first share of my reward. I already got the first share of my reward. It was quite rewarding. I can go back to Old Pagos and ask around. I think I should find food rations to purchase and acquire so I can pay the toll for the man. I have enough money to facilitate it, I hope anyway. So I think that would be my next order of business. So, with that in mind, I shall go to the dell and see what they have for me. Beautiful Howler's Dell. You ride through the open gate, then carefully dismount. Some of the locals greet you politely, but they keep their distance. After you notice your own smell and dirt on your clothes, you no longer wonder why. I am a horrifying creature. I head to the stables. Here you go. I let him work in peace. To the main square. To the trader. I bring some goods to sell. Troll bone tablet. Goldenrod. Troll bone tablet. He makes a satisfied grunt. Nice work, and you even got the stylus. Make a nice gift if I were to change the wax for a green one. Want to leave it here for 3 rings. Sure. He sold the tablet. What else are you? No. I need those rods to place them around places. I do not know which places, but I shall place those rods. How about some useful herbs or ointments? You have druids around here. Need any help? I needed something urgent, but you'll not get now a medicament for my daughter. Not that she was hurt or anything. He raises his open palms as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods and leaves this very morning. I cannot tell her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. If you have it at hand, I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. Oh, he calls them dragon rings instead of dragon bones. Neat. I have nothing. Let's hope she'll do fine without it. He exhales loudly. Shit me fire! May the woods treat my girl softly. Right. What do you have for... I don't... What do you have for sale? Linen fabric, a wooden lantern, primitive but convenient, new battle axe. I need none of these things. I need food. I walk away. The innkeeper! I need rations. Bath and dinner. Yes, please. Beautiful. I don't stand much from the crowd. I'm clean and tidy. Delightful. I need more rations. I have no rations. Ah, beautiful exchange. Finally. Okay, so I have a decent contingent of food rations. I shall acquire more. I think that's enough. Right. I can spend the rest of the day healing my broken body. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Not really. I have my own things to worry about. Neighbors keep to their own company. Better for everyone to seek help. From my wife or the forest speakers. Not in a mug of ale. I love the way that this game interprets accents. in a way that is understandable and is communicated effectively through text. And I've just taken all of these unique dialects and I've just defaulted to Scottish accent number 5432. Originality. Ah. Right. Thank you. I cannot wait. But Scottish is good. Yes, it is. It is very good. I spent some time in Scotland. It is a lovely place filled with lovely people. I very much love their culture. And also very fitting, honestly. Well, I appreciate that I am doing well by this game. And thank you for saying so. Map. I leave the square. I wait. For evening. I slumber. Yes, look at this. It's beautiful. Oh, I can be clean. Sleeping in a room. Your own room with a... Oh, yes, definitely. This is what it means to have money. You spend the night in peace in a clean bed with a tightly shut window and a warm blanket. In the morning, you find a stool placed by your bed covered with an eggplant soup, a bowl of pears, and some crumbly biscuits. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy, who's covered in mud and speaks unusually loud and enthusiastically, mentions that Dave has already been brushed and watered. You nod, but he runs outside without noticing it. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Bayes is nowhere to be seen. That is perfectly fine. I leave the square, and I set forth to travel beyond the Phantom Veil. Right, what was I doing? Oh yes, I was gathering food rations for the man at the gate. Hopefully he's still alive. Nani? Why, what is going on? Explain to me what is happening. I do not comprehend. Anyway. What was I doing? Oh yes. To the gate! Are you still alive, Quintus? There's fresh blood on the road, but the trail leads into the deep bushes. Quintus is sitting on the ground, leaning against the wall with closed eyes, which he opens after you get closer. What do you want? Right. So, let's see here. Journal, bronze rods. Right, I'm going to quick save and do the important thing first. I have your food rations. He gives you a radiant smile. He cups his large scarred hands, waiting for you to give him the packages. Once you are done, he opens a sack of nuts and shoves them into his mouth. The bandage is the only thing that stops him from looking like a hamster. He asked me for 6 food rations for putting a rod here. And from what I can gather... I actually do have 6, but wild plants don't count as food rations. How delightful. He doesn't trust me enough to say anything about Glossia. He asked me for 6 food rations. I am going to go back to Howler's Dew. I am going to spend my last coin. You approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Hello, stranger. What news do you bring? We gossip for a bit. Even though Howler's Dell is a large village, the life here is slow. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, 2 groups of local kids have invented a new way to wrestle for points. And they are now trying to outdo one another in small contests. Very nice. The delightful Park of Youth. I remember being youthful once. It was a very long time ago. I'm broke. He scowls at me. Alright, I go to the main square. I approach the innkeeper. I need rations with the last of my coin. Alright, thank you. I leave. Travel. Back to the gate. I want to place that rod, and I shall spend any amount of food to do so. Here's the food you asked for, and here's the bronze rod. His wide grin makes you think for a moment that he's going to swallow an entire package at once. Leave it to me. I'll shove it into a crack with one or two cords. It'll resist rain, frost, and bogs. Good. Alright, I'd like you to open the gate. Let it no longer be closed. That's another pop culture reference for you. I don't think you should enter the wilds, but you know, if you say so, do it. You lift the bar on your side of the gate and wait for Quintus. You hear him pressing his feet to the wall as he climbs down with the help of his rope. Getting on the ground swiftly, he gives you a serious look from the open gate. Safe travels, Warden. I travel to the other edge of the woodland. The regular forest has been absolutely obliterating me, and now I am entering what is essentially hard mode. Let's see if I survive. But this is the job of a Roadwarden after all. The forest gives way to rocks and green hills, but among the tall trees are numerous monkeys, sitting in small groups, loud yet shorter than half your size. They distort the green leaves with red, brown, white, and blue fur. As you approach their territory, their excitement grows. They climb up and down the trunks, sway on vines, jump between branches, or hang down, putting to use their long tails. They throw at you countless angry glances and grunts, but also cones, branches, and chestnuts. The local population finds my presence distasteful and are showing it. A piece of their fresh feces lands close to Dave, but the pack's aim is rather miserable. The locals are showing me their customs. 2 precise shots from a crossbow should be enough to discourage them. I need to endure it. I ride forward. I don't think picking a fight with the locals will be good because they have strength in numbers and I don't want to endanger Dave. Oh my. You try to shield yourself with your cloak, but you enter an avalanche of missiles. One of the rocks painfully hits your arm, and as you lean away, something even hits your forehead. Soon, you feel blood on your eyebrow. You rush Dave, which is more than happy to follow your command. The monkeys follow you, swinging between the trees, until they reach the edge of their territory, letting out triumphant shouts. Well, that was delightful. Let's get out of here. I escaped the apes. Every minute or so, you get lost in the dense woods. When possible, you stick to the remains of the beaten path, clearing the overgrown thicket that blocks your way, but it would take many more travelers to sustain such a trail. The land around you may lack greens, but is far from being empty. The fallen boughs and dead stumps are slowly devoured by ants and mushrooms, a web-like labyrinth of wooden walls. While the white termites, larger than your hands, continue their never-ending march. Their guards notice your presence, but simply form a warning line in front of their workers. What is going on? Magical disruption in the vocal cords, it would appear. The trees are taller than the temple in the city, with trunks resembling the legs of giants. The shadows they cast are like a carpet, and the few beams of light nourish the sparse bushes and ferns. The only plants that aren't choked by the rotting late summer leaves, shaped like toothed squares as large as your face. Now that I'm more familiar with this part of the forest, I may be able to find a smoother path. Here's to hoping. The road is bright, empty, surrounded by sparsely growing trees, gentle hills, and meadows. It leads you to a cairn, a pile of rocks ranging in size from your abdomen to your fist. There's also quite a few tiny pebbles. A narrow, hardly passable trail leads south, but likely won't survive another year without travelers. The writing in this game is so delightful. I feel like that's sort of why I feel much more comfortable with this game than I did with Disco Elysium, because Disco Elysium is a lot more set in the 80s or 60s and that sort of era, and I'm not very familiar with that era. But this is phantasmological and has elements that I can comprehend and recognize from both the media that I have ingested over the years and my own world. I am more comfortable with this world as a talking ramskull. I look for a spot where I could place a rod for Eudocia. Please. You look for snakes in the grass, grab the reins, and climb uphill through the sparse flowers and grass as green as a merchant's dress. The few trees you pass by are healthy but unremarkable, the more like shrubs with trunks. You get a nice look from the top of the hill, but even from here you can't see the tips of the trees. To the north and west, you're surrounded by the walls and blankets of greenery. You approach the closest scrubby tree, with thick branches that grow right above the ground. I prepare my rod. You allow Dave to graze, then step on the lower branches. Getting up quickly, you lean your weight against the dry bow, holding the bronze rod with one hand and tying it with the other. In no time, you land back on the grass. I climb down the hill. You're by the cairn. I continue my journey. Actually, I'll take a closer look at the cairn. It's wider than two people standing side by side and taller than Dave. The grass surrounds it tightly. It must be years old, but could just as well be older than any village in the north. You find rocks in many colors, including red, cream, white, black, and blue, and many dotted or mixed ones. While the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch, it would be easy to shatter it with a pickaxe or a single swipe of a dragon. You also notice pieces of old chicken bones pressed among the rocks. Unfortunately, no coins. I step away and continue my journey. Your eyes wander between the wall of trees and shrubs on one side and the dirty pond on the other. The road itself is wide, covered with soggy logs that keep the ground from turning into mud. It's breaking under your mount's hooves, letting out what sounds like a sigh of relief. The water insufferably stinks of carrion, and is covered with a blanket of green plants and white flowers that draw countless buzzing insects. Even a horse shouldn't drink from it. Dave tries to get familiar with the unusual pavement and speeds up to jump over a fallen trunk blocking your path. Once it lands, it breaks one of the logs in halves. Soon after, you reach a massive black saurian. Oh boy. Resting on the ground, enjoying the light at the edge of the forest. It seems to be ignoring your presence. Once again, Dave canters. I trust the instincts of Dave the horse. Dave is such a reliable and beautiful animal, and the previous description of the muddy and disgusting water reminds me that in the past I have memories of a beautiful dog, a giant Saint Bernard that used to be in my keep and my presence, and whenever I took her out for walks, she had the beautiful desire almost automatically to ingest every single dirty puddle of muck that we would go across. Just automatically, the moment you see a body of water that was left by the rains, she would immediately start slurping and gulping it down like an automatic machine. She trained me to constantly yank her away from the dirty waters. It was quite the walks I took with her. Once the monster raises its head, you're already in the air. The beast pushes itself away from the ground with its forelimbs, trying to catch any chunk of flesh with its massive jaws, but you safely hit the ground and return to a trot slowly. I pay attention to the dead trees sticking out of the pond. They look similar to that saurian. We carry on. The colors of leaves range from greens to purples and overwhelm you with shadows. The stems of the shrubs twisted in all directions, seeking the slightest scraps of sunlight. The trees are not too tall, but their trunks are as wide as buildings. The neglected road has been carved into the thicket, an inch at a time, a corridor of plants with a floor made of pebbles that give way to saplings and vines. From time to time, you pass by many turns, relics left by roaming dragons, unicorns, and trolls. Some of them are still used by beasts, boars, striped cats, or packs of goblins, ape men. The birds are sharing their songs, as cheerful as ever. When necessary, I clear any thicket that's in Dave's way. Ooh. You reach a gap in the tunnel of plants. The meadow nourishes a lonely tree growing in the shadow of a rocky hill, surrounded by humble grasses. Near the tree roots, a wolf without fur is feasting on a human corpse, unaware of your presence. No armor, 1 vitality, I am barely standing. I'm glad that I actually have time to think, because this is a spur-of-the-moment thing, but considering... If I was realistically in this situation, I would definitely avoid this altercation. So I'm going to leave as quickly as I can. Dave obeys gladly. The beast spares you a glance, but doesn't follow you. No point in dying in the middle of nowhere. I wish I could help, but I'm not ready for such a fight. Maybe the beast will break the bones before they get touched by the fog. No point in dying in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather die in a shed to a spider. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford, made of hundreds of rocks that used to reach from the bottom of the surface, but is now partially demolished, either by time or a living creature. For a rider crossing it, it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon would pose quite a challenge. The water is clean and the banks are low, a good watering spot for Dave. I could spend some time gathering larger rocks and throwing them into the water. For how long? For 45 minutes. You let Dave graze and drink by the stream. You wander along the edge of the dark forest on one side and a colorful meadow on the other, and seek rocks smaller than your head. Carrying them makes you tired quickly. After you're done, the rocks you put here start to make a difference. For now, it's enough. You leave the dark woods behind. You look at the boulder. On its surface, a fresh bloodstain holds a few yellow feathers. Oh my. That is quite a disjointed set of paths I have taken. I wonder if this entire area is something that I could actually map out and fill. That would be an incredible amount of content that would be available in this game if that were the case. A lot of work has gone into this game, and I hope that the people that made it are very proud of what they've accomplished. I think they should be proud. I travel to the gate in the west. Oops. You're standing at the ford and you spot a few rocks you've thrown into it. You spot a large furry beast that runs down the river, startled by your presence. I could spend some time. Sure. Required vitality. I'm too weak to finish this work today. Finally, I see the effects of... Oh boy, can I... Oh, I just messed up. Oh. You're near the same part of the forest where you encountered the corpse-eating beast. The rocky hills are green with colorful flowers and lively buzzing of insects. You seek any threats hidden in the tall grass. You notice a single soul standing on a distant rock ledge. They call you with a gesture. I stop my horse. Whom do I see? It's a man in an unlaced black gambeson covering a simple cloth shirt. He has the short dark hair of a laborer, neither tall nor short. You see no weapons. He's standing near the entrance to a cave and keeps looking around. Even once he looks at you, he gestures no more, just waits. I'm getting out of there. The soul from the hill remains silent. I won't stop for gossip in the middle of the wilderness. Oh, I just realized what I did. Oh god, I'm dying. I'm going to die to monkeys. I'm going to start shooting at monkeys. Loading a crossbow from the saddle isn't easy. The monkeys flee the trees. I ride forward. I have survived the monkeys. The air in the bright arid hills is much drier than in the woods. Down below, among the humble meadows, you spot a stone plateau. On top of which, a group of bipedal creatures is feasting on a large carcass. From what you can see, only a few of them would reach your knees, but as the pack notices your gaze, it starts to regroup. I tether Dave to a tree. I can handle a few bites from their tiny jaws. I'm not looking for a fight. I stay on track. Time to get out of here. Oh, I made it past the gate. The long shadow cast by the crags protects you from the sun. Quintus is leaning on the wall's parapet, looking down. He nods to you, climbs down, and opens the gate from the other side. Still alive, eh? Ooh. What's it like to live in Old Pagos? He opens his mouth, giving you a puzzled look, then lets out a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks. Ah. They are cultured people of rock and stone. He taps on the wall. Make houses, bowls, tools, we sell them. We grow oats and broad beans. Ibexes give us wool and skins for monks. What do you call it? The one you write on. He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah, it's a good place. Beautiful old hill. That's what Old Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eyes get brighter. Good people. They came here on a mission, teaching us a rights book. My grandparents were pagans, you know. But we now follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. But seriously, you're tempting the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah. He waves off with a smile, and once he speaks, his voice cracks. And where would I go anyway? I mean, Pelt to the north is a great, lovely place. No, I wouldn't mind spending time with Dalit and her crew, especially the winter, but forget it, I can't afford even that. Unless they're looking for a pair of hands, I better stay here. So, the thing that stops you from going to the Pelt right away is dragon bones? I mean, that's a pretty big thing. In the north, everyone looks after themselves. The hunters may be my friends, but I won't beg them for help. I could ask the innkeep to let him stay for labor. I am on the Quintus quest. I've entered the woods many times already. You can trust me. The creatures there are beyond any human. Don't you miss fresh, warm food? The rations lose their charm quickly. He lets out a hiss and raises his chin proudly, but after another breath he licks his lips. Let's return to this later. Alright. What time? 4 hours and 30 minutes. I am perishing. And I am out of money once again. I cannot travel to the secluded residence, but I can travel to the Pelt of the North. But it would be much more ideal for me to go to Howler's Dew. Del, doo-da-dee-doo-da. Bee-bee-ba-ba-boo-boo. It's too late to ask the locals about work. I wait for evening, and I slumber. Welcome, Suarkal. Glad you could stop by. I am the Bee-Baboo Baboo-Ba. I make random noises sometimes, you see. Welcome in. Sleep on the Mouflon pelt. What a voice, 10 out of 10. Thank you. I try my best. It's warm here, but the Mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up in a couple of times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger. And the staff returns to the room once every hour, so to stir the pot, you wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Dave and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Face is nowhere to be seen. I am barely standing and I am malnourished. How does one help change these things? I do not know. I have no money. I leave the square. I'm too tired to offer my services to Vitality. I need to find a way to restore my vitality. Oh. Resting in the village. You'll spend the entire day taking care of smaller chores and allowing your shell and soul to rest. Yes, please. It's important to take rest days. It's getting dark and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rushlights. The workers drink and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovlaven's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them look older than 12. And the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a mouflon on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board, covered with rocks. But they are bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic. So long that it looks like a sack. A beautiful, beautiful sack. So dirty you turn 9-binary. That's next level. I wonder if I'm so dirty my identity is incomprehensible. People stay away from me. Cleanliness is important, kids. It would be rude to ignore her. I smile and ask what she needs. Yeah. Don't want to deal with children right now. I say I'm busy and walk by her. I smile and ask what she needs. She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace of playful misery. Master Roadwarden! Hearing such an antiquated salutation makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk. We here. She points at her group. Bored, oh so bored. She puts the back of her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh. On the flip side, stay dirty to keep people guessing and away. Yes, being a dirty hobo is a great deterrent if you don't want to be social and just want to be alone for a change. Moral life advice with Rambones the Bodie. Wait. Right. I'm not much of a talker, says the man who talked up an entire square just earlier. Fine, make room for me at the table. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends and siblings. After a bit of chaos, there's 20 young souls sitting closely to one another, on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down on. I've literally gathered a cavalcade of children to tell them my tale, but I am so decrepit. Oh, this is embarrassing. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand your lost look in an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes an even greater amount of noise. But in the end, there are dozens of eyes staring at you with a mixture of boredom and anticipation. I tell them about my adventures exactly as it happened. I tell them about my adventures, even though I spice it up with a couple of small eyes. Yeah, let's be spicy. Let's make up with our ragged hobo appearance with some spicy tales. The story takes quite a bit of time, and at one point gets a bit cruel. The youngest kid covers their eyes, which doesn't block their hearing in any way. Ah, lies, the seasoning of choice. Yes, indeed. Let's spice up our tales of adventuring with a couple of nicely toned deceptions. As you get to the end, the tension disappears. The older kids clap for a bit, keeping their dignity intact, while the younger ones start to laugh and argue loudly about the best part of your tale. For some reason, two of the girls start to wrestle, pretending to be two of the characters that you just portrayed. Seeing this, the adults decide to intervene. My tales are so amazing I cause children to fight each other. Oof. You stand up, and the children do the same to show their respect. The girl that had previously talked with you thanks you for your time. It was my pleasure. I return to my tasks. So, day 17, nighttime. I can sleep, if I so desire. Sleep. I'm already decrepit and ragged. What's one more night of sleeping on a mouflon pelt? Sleep. The rain once again hit the ground, interrupting your sleep. Another day of muddy roads. Oh, this game is destroying me. The days are getting shorter. Yes, they are. I am malnourished, but at least I have vitality. This would be good if I could afford it, but I cannot. Inventory. Delicious. Nourishment by 2. Nourishment by 1. I am well fed. I leave the square. I offer my services to the guards. Ooh. Escorting the foragers. This task will take you about half a day and may get dangerous. How about no? We placed a rod. 2 rods, in fact. I must go and acquire money for my rod placements. Travel. For 7 hours. Oh boy. I do have time to spare, so might as well get to it. To the secluded residence. Enchantress, I seek your money. I wait. I enter. Oh my god, it takes 2 hours for her to acknowledge me. Oh boy. Oh boy. The night will be to provide shelter for wayfarers. Hopefully that shelter will allow me to survive. I want to collect my reward for some rods. Wipes her hands. You've placed around 6 rods. Here you go. Excellent. I now have money that I can use. Let's trade. What do you have? A pebble filled with pneuma, useful for spellcasters. I am not one of those. I am the power of the Unga Bunga hit things with sword. Or axe in this case. I am the power of force. As an experienced warrior, you gain an advantage during physical struggles. And oh boy, there have been many. But I'm very proud to say that I survived a combo attack by a large cat and a large bird. And I lived to tell the tale with a shredded armor. Right. Well, I would rather not wait. Can I turn the abandoned watchtower into a safe haven? Let's find out together. The watchtower is blending with the wilderness slowly. For a moment, you think that the gate's position has changed since your last visit, but once you get closer, you're sure there are no fresh tracks. It's a good spot for one of the bronze rods, but I have to somehow get on the roof first. Picking fruits and vegetables should be easy on an open hill. I spend half an hour foraging. Sure. Wild plants. I shall devour a wild plant. Yes. Excellent, my nourishment is full. It's much easier for me to overcome physical struggles. I can make up for the fact that I have no armor and I am half health at all times. Dave grazes at the fence while you cross the short meadow, seeking edible leaves of fennel, sorrel, and lettuce that hide in the shadows of spruce trees, forcing you to get on your knees and push the branches away. After some time, with needles in your hood and sleeves, you carry the vegetables to the gate, washing them with your water skin and spreading them on a blanket, allowing them to dry up. As you pick the very few remaining pears and berries, you notice a wide tree hollow. You take a look inside and find a stash of acorns and chestnuts, but also hazelnuts and walnuts. Do I steal the stash from the squirrels? Do I want to make enemies with the squirrel faction? Many popular pieces of media have shown us that squirrels are very dangerous and secretly control the world. So, do I want to make the squirrels my enemies? You only live once. I gathered a new food ration. Oh, wow. So many nuts, I have a food ration now. I approach the entrance. I take my axe and break through. Do you want to anger the squirrel overlords, though? Well, I have taken the plunge and will incur the wrath of the Squirrel Nation. My playthrough is not long for this world, and if I must die to the squirrel plague, then so be it. Achievement unlocked. Total war with the squirrels. Yes, indeed. This is the beginning of my end. I shall be destroyed by 1,000 cuts and screeches by squirrels. That's a lot of squirrels that you stole from then, if you have a full-on stash now. Absolutely, it was a completely hollowed-out tree filled with squirrel nuts to the point where I could fill out one food ration, so that's double the amount of wild plants. So I have nuts for days. It's delightful. Right. Time to break through. Violence! New shelter unlocked. You start chopping the door in a spot where two planks are connected to one another. It takes a bit of time and some precision, especially since you struggle to find the right angle to take a swing. Finally, the wood cracks. Then you push it. It lets out a dizzy creaking of rusty hinges. An empty table stands in the middle of a large round room, filled with dusty furniture. Single-handedly wiping out the local squirrel population by stealing all their food. Starving squirrels on every corner. I do have my character backstory is that I have a horrible past that I wish to avoid and start a new life. So maybe I used to be a horrible vagabond that did not care about the struggles of squirrels. So maybe this is in character for me to be a horrible, heartless heathen that stole the winter supplies of woodland creatures. I laugh at the misfortune of weaker things. Last stream, one person commented that I sound like a villain. Maybe I am a villain. Who knows? Right. Without the open door, you'd struggle to see anything. You wait to be sure that nothing tries to jump on you, and finally hide your weapon. I need to remember to sharpen it later on. Journal updated. Explore the peninsula. Ooh. An X-ray view of the tower. The first thing you notice is that the room isn't high, and that just like the windows suggested, there's the second floor above it. The scent sparks an image of a cellar, humid, but without much mustiness. The tree stumps used as stools surround a round table in the center, now covered by dust. The shelves are empty, with no tools left behind. And you see a couple of dishes laying in various spots, empty and sticky. The bugs are crawling both on the furniture and near the walls. Spiders, roaches, worms. You think about taking a look into one of the casks, but the smell coming from it makes you change your plans. Instead, you climb up the ladder. The view isn't much different. The floor is covered with pieces of trash, dirty furniture, and sleeping pallets, which are moist, smelly, and full of wriggling and chirping creatures. I have found the greatest base of operations known to man. I shall be safe from the squirrels in here. It gives me shivers. I try not to look at them. You climb down. Dave is looking at the grass outside, still touched by the sunlight. You approach the windows, each one locked with two heavy wooden bars. Opening them would not be a problem, but knocking them down from the outside won't be an easy task. You sigh with relief. It's a safe place. I open the trap door and leave a bronze rod on the roof. I have one rod left, and I have no idea where to place it. And unfortunately, my own bum is not an available location. You climb up the ladder and push the trapdoor with one hand. The planks are thick, and as they fall down under their own weight, they make a loud thud. You find a crack between two of the bricks and use the rod to widen it a bit. You push halfway through and fill the gaps with a linen cloth. You move it a couple of times just to be sure it won't detach. You wonder if it's going to lure any lightning. Right, following the clue from old Pegasus, I look for anything that Asterion could have left behind. You found a wax tablet? Ooh, treasure! You start to move around all sorts of furniture, light and heavy. Among various pieces of garbage that you have to push aside, you find something unusual in the space between one of the pallets and the wall. An old molding wax tablet. There are some writings inside it. Other than that, the place seems to be empty, unless you count broken pottery and ragged clothes. For now, I hide it in my bag and put everything back in its place. Time to wash my hands. You're at the ground floor of the watchtower. Dozens of little creatures run away from the new source of light. I don't have anything that would help me get rid of these bugs. Light the fire, burn them all. I go outside. Sleep. Suffocation. Sleep on a buggy pallet. The palate is buggy and far from fresh, but with your cape, it's going to be soft. The thick walls will protect you from the wild and monsters, but you have to barricade the entrance with a pile of furniture. The art style of Roadwarden is really cool, in my opinion. I also share the same opinion. The pixelated style is quite easy on the eyes. And quite nicely done. I myself have dabbled in pixel art, but I cannot do what these guys do because they make it very simple and keep to very recognizable silhouettes. And my problem is I go very detailed and go all over the place, as is probably noticeable by the texture of my ram skull, which is pixelated, but it is so detailed that you can't actually tell that it's supposed to be pixel art. I am staring into your soul. Anyway. Buttons. There we go. The dark skies don't let go. It's yet another nightfall, night of rainfall, nightfall of rain. And the smiley eye is cute as well. Yes. I very much enjoy it. It's a very basic thing that I set up, but it registers whenever I smile. I also have... I can actually toggle it manually if I so choose. Also have this, which isn't set to any toggles. And the only way to do it is to do it manually. But yes, the dark skies, don't let go. It's yet another night of rainfall. Never a break, huh? The scratching from the lower floor wakes you up. You get out of the blanket and look down the ladder. The main door shakes, just in case you open a window and glance outside. A pale, muscular fright tape. What? A fright ape? Fright ape? Tries to open the entrance with its massive hands, but to no avail. After it hears the screeching of a shutter, it looks at you with its dead black eyes. If this was a horror game, I would absolutely be crapping in my pantaloons at the moment. Then grabs one of the bricks and bounces up, shortening the distance quickly. Oh my. You lock the window with every bolt the bar has, just in time to keep the shouting monster away. The ape punches the planks fiercely, then climbs even higher, looking for another entrance, but is incapable of recognizing the trapdoor, and after a few minutes you think it gave up. An SCP has entered the area and it is trying to break my shelter down and beat me within an inch of my life. Roadwarden! Haha! Just to be sure, I inspect every window in the main entrance. I would be too frazzled to go to sleep. Well, now I hunger for sustenance, which I do actually. Oh yeah, the nuts. I shall devour the nuts. I have devoured the squirrel's bounty. Now if they want it, they'll have to pry it out of my cold, dead shell. You open your eyes and there's this unpleasant tingling on your cheek. You reach for what turns out to be a small bug. You throw it away and look around, only to see dozens of tiny creatures swarming on the floor and the bed, as well as your blanket, clothes, and bags. You push some of them away, gathering your things, with thoughts still clouded by dreams. You gather your things and look through the bags, removing as many insects, worms, and spiders from them as you can find. Squirrels taking notes of what they need to do. I need to repair my armor because of the encroaching squirrel threat. Every time I look over my shoulders, they're there, skittering in the corners of my eyes. They're observing me, they're stalking me, waiting for me to drop my guard, and then they will pounce on me. They will never forget this travesty. I can't even give the nuts back now, I've stuffed them all in my face like a hamster. They're coming for me! Right. I look for the tracks I saw near the fallen tree. The tracks lead here, though through the narrow gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. I take a look at the signpost. The planks and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frost, borers, and claws. You scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing in a different direction. The letters don't tell you anything. The plank on the top points both south and north, but there are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. I can't read! The one beneath it points east, and there's a word written in blue paint. The arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower surrounded by little houses, and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. Oh, so much danger. Right, well, oh boy. The days are getting longer. What can I do? Oh yes, I have a rod left. I was forbidden to place a rod in Howler's... Hayes wants me to spy for her. Look at all these quests I have completed. It feels so satisfying to complete quests in this game because they feel like long treks and journeys. Because that is what they are. I am the Roadwarden. Oh yes, explore the peninsula. This is updated. People of White Marshes feel threatened and may attempt to... The city merchants will have fewer reasons. Oh, right, I have to leave the peninsula on the 40th day of my journey or sooner. To add worth to my work here, I could secure the roads by getting rid of any major threats and convince the tribes to negotiate with the officials. That is the main quest, after all. I still haven't found what happened to Asterion. He probably got ravaged by squirrels. Oh boy, I am chuckling at my own fate. I want to go back to the creek and see if anything new has happened over there. To the creeks! A guard leaning from the watchtower warmly welcomes you with a shout, though the wind distorts the words. Time to look for the carpenter. Hello, the carpenter. Old Pagos is suffering from the plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. He's in the middle of his break, leaning against the top of his working bench. He waves at you with a chisel. Hey there, friend! I see you've taken a liking to our village. I have. It's the most sane one out of all the villages. Old Pagos is suffering from a plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. He freezes, puts away his tools, then looks at you with wide eyes. Wait for a bit, will ya? Without waiting for your response, he springs up and knocks down a few planks as he lurches away, asking his neighbors to call the entire tribe. Oh god, what have I done? People surround you, asking what's going on, and once the news spreads, you answer dozens of questions. Most of what you have to say could be summed up with, I'm not sure. Aside from the worried faces, there are also more pragmatic ones. Hunters mention that they won't be able to deliver their autumn pelts, while one of the farmers wonders about her cousin. She was always so pious, she says with an accent you remember from Old Pagos. May the right reward her prayers or else. After some time, the crowd pays you little attention, and Ella leads you back to his workshop. They and I will discuss this later, he says with an absent voice. Then he sits down and glances at his neighbors. I'd like to put this rod somewhere high. It belongs to Eudocia, the enchantress. He grabs the rod and looks at it with caution. I wouldn't call her our friend exactly. You'd do better selling this, swinging it left and right like a club. Oh, swinging it left and right like a club, he tells you to wait. It can't be just my decision. I'm going to ask the others, at least a few of them. You rest at a table and observe how the man approaches various souls and exchanges a few words with them. It takes him so long you manage to get bored enough to indulge a little girl who'd like to pet Dave. The man returns and gives you the rod back. Well, my tribe is far from convinced. He wipes the sweat off his forehead. We'd rather stay away from it. Fair enough. If a weird witch with an army of golems comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to put this magical stick in your house," would you agree? Even worse, she isn't doing it herself. She's sending messengers to do it for her. About the Eastern Path. Did you face any troubles? Immediately would agree. Yeah. Seems a bit sussy. Did you face any troubles? I cleared the statue south of Foggy's place. That woman with a stick, seeing your nods, he stops his work. What for? It increases the chances that animals will see her as a human shell and feel threatened by it. He snorts, "What?" You repeat yourself, but he gestures with his knife for you to stop. Don't be dumb, friend. Birds sit on it all the time, and I see no cants jumping on it. Beasts. He taps his nose. Have other senses than we do. You might be right. Okay, fair enough then. Don't get on the wrong side of weird witches. Especially witches with golem armies. Good to see you don't idle around, Roadwarden. Yes, I am a disheveled and decrepit creature shuffling around from city to city trying to do small errands and sending... I just realized that I am the walking word of mouth. I bring news from place to place. The shelter in the west isn't safe. Better to stay away from it until the dusk foxes move out. Dusk foxes? After he meets your silence, he carries on. I don't know what that is. You describe their looks and the threat they present as Ella observes the clouds, sometimes asking you to explain more. He finally squeezes his cloak and reaches for a coin that's been resting on his workbench. Well, sounds not as dangerous as a tribe of goblins, but it may be better for us to hunt them down in spring. We may need your help then. For now, a single dragon bone will be fair pay for the news. Sure. Well, friend, thanks for your tales. The hunters and foragers feel more confident about the medals from here to the Foggies. And even beyond, when you have a day to spare, come here any morning. Ask our tribesfolk about a job for a Roadwarden unless it rains. You'll get 2 dragons, enough stew to fill your belly for a day of patrolling the roads and assisting us with our wagons. So, the things are meant to do anyway. Yeah, sure. New mundane job available. I love mundane jobs because it makes me feel like I'm capable of something. The Brookford is... I'll let you know if there's anything else. He leans against the table, sweating profusely. Trying to not keep eye contact with the body he's trying to hide. Yay, mundane jobs. Innit. The days are getting shorter, aye? Yes, they are. My time on this mortal coil is dwindling as we speak. See you later. I go to Ephraim the hunter. At such a late hour, the locals aren't interested in my services. He's in the yard next to the gate, practicing his steps and swings while holding a blunt cudgel. As you get closer, he spares you a polite smile. Good to see you in one place, traveler. What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're wanting for a longer tale, he adjusts his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern road is safest, he concludes. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I've heard from a friend that gnolls were moving there. Those very small beast folks, you know? From my experience in Baldur's Gate 3, gnolls are many things, but small they are not. But then again, this game likes to be original with its interpretation of fantasy creatures, so it does take its own liberties with what they are and what they do, which I very much appreciate. Originality is so nice to see. Hydration. He moves an open hand close to his hips, betraying the height. They'll threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they eat. No fruits, no, I don't know, bones? Aggressive and surprisingly exploding, I found in Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, indeed, that is one of the first interactions that you have with them. And if you don't kill the hyenas in time, they explode into gnolls and all those other things. I remember the many times that Astarion in my games would fall victim to their horrible lashings. I like how currency in this game is just slices of dragon bone. Yes, that is quite nice. And also it's quite unique because instead of actual minerals and resources, it is something that is unique and identifiable, and at the same time rare enough that it could be used for currency. It's very clever. I very much appreciate all the little things that they've built up in this game. And the fact that different people call them different things. The merchant in Howler's Dell called them dragon rings, and generally they referred to as dragon bones. I mean, honestly, if I could trade for good with lumps of dragon, I would. Yes! I mean, it is sort of a... well, not really a pride thing, but it shows that we were powerful enough to, at the very least, scavenge the carcass of a dragon and disseminate its bones into small coins fit for currency. I think that's very metal. A very fun way for a currency. It's actually a very unique thing that I haven't really encountered in any other game that I can recall at this moment. Very unique currency. But it's the fright apes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible scream of a human somewhere in the 3 Crowns, run as fast as you can, don't seek it. Oh, so that's what I encountered. And certainly don't fight it, just ride as fast as you can. So, fright apes are something to avoid. I wonder how well they match up against squirrels. Are you the only hunter around? I walk away. I approach the shallow creek. I jump into the stream, butt naked. Oh, two appearance! I am no longer a disheveled hobo. Praise be, praise be. I can't believe I'm so excited for cleanliness in a game. Oh. This is what this game does to you. Only one way to find out. Steal the fright apes' food source too, and pit them against each other. The squirrels come at me and I say, it wasn't me, it was the fright apes, while I'm running away from fright apes. Oh. All the woodland factions are going to be pitted against each other. I am an agent of chaos, sowing seeds of discontent among the locals. I wonder if I can steal from the monkeys that were previously throwing rocks in their own dung at me. My clothes need no washing. I disagree, but I will not argue with the fact that the game doesn't allow me to do anything. I will wait. I shall seek shelter. It's too dangerous to stay here. Oops. Oh, I messed up. Yep. Oh well. Luckily, it's not enough of a mistake to cost me anything. As I quick save just in case. Right. I seek slumber in your humble abode. Oh, and I actually have enough money to rent. Yes. I shall sleep in the attic. I forgot that I have money. Can you believe that? Actual money. The halfway point is behind you. In just 20 days, you'll need to ride back to Hovleven. This game is so long, it's taken me 10 days of playing the 10 hours or however many hours I've played this and however many streams, and I'm only halfway through the appointed time that this game is giving me to do my main quest. I remember back in my day, old Half-Life was heralded as a beautiful thing for having a 6 to 8 hour campaign from start to finish. Oh, how the times change. Maybe someday I'll actually just boot up Half-Life again and play that with mods. Probably. It is one of the most beloved things that I cherish, but I would like to use streaming as an avenue for new games, new experiences, but then again, who knows what the future holds? All I know for the moment is that I need to be right back for a minute or so. Gosh, I herald from the age of long as heck games. The way gaming has evolved over the years is quite a beautiful sight to see. The greatest games of all times, I think, as both a narrative and technical accomplishment actually happened in the past 3 years, namely, I'm referring to Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. Have you played Valrus? I have no idea what that is, but I am willing to check. It's not on Steam. So what is it? What is this I see before me? Nope, I cannot even find it on Google. I keep coming up with games that have a walrus in them. Vagrus. What? Vagrus is also a thing I've never heard of. Vagrus. Vagrus, the Riven Realms. Okay, this is interesting. Ooh. Embark on a perilous journey across a realm forsaken by the gods and devastated by an arcane cataclysm, accompanied by a hardy crew. You must trade, fight, and explore your way. Post-apocalyptic fantasy RPG, story-rich, Dungeons and Dragons, open world. I have not played it, but it is getting added on my wish list. Ooh. Fascinating. It's definitely something worth checking out. It's a game that tickled the same place as Roadwarden did for me. Very nice. If it's similar to Roadwarden, then I will surely see what it's all about. How's it? Oh. I had to run out to the shop to get a new headset. My Ranit ate mine. I am assuming it says you mean rabbit. How's it going since I've been gone? Hello, welcome back, sweet Peach. It goes well. I stole from squirrels, and now I fear their retribution, and I am hiding and running away. So far, pretty good. I'm doing the job of a road warden, going through places and giving the news. The reason why I chuckled earlier is because you're both pink, so I didn't realize that you're different people. Streaming is hard. But anyway, I will be right back. As I said, enjoy the beautiful musical accompaniment by Dimitron and Ryu Akito. One sec. And we return! Don't let the squirrels get you. This is now my battle. Oh. The halfway point is behind you. I could speak with Tulia. Maybe she'll be willing to head to the city earlier. Oh yes, I can actually finish the campaign now if I... Well, it does say 40 days or earlier. What am I doing? Journal is what I'm doing. Explore the peninsula. Yes, leave the peninsula on the 40th day of my journey or sooner. I could speak with Tulia. Maybe she'll be willing to head to the city earlier. Tulia's my ride, you see. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed Dave makes you feel uneasy. But at least the furs are covering the floor. The furs covering the floor are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning. And while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. Feed me, Foggy, feed me! I've run out of meals, but I am feeling well, sort of clean, and fully nourished. These are the highest stats yet. Post-Panther attack, that is. Any interesting rumors? What can you tell me about Old Pagos? You'll do good visiting that place, dear. It may be one of the oldest villages in the north, but even if it's not, it's safe. With strong walls and safe roads, their crops are weak, but for generations now they've been cutting stone and buildings for other tribes in exchange for supplies. Some time ago, they tied themselves to the monks, and now they don't look kindly on those who don't follow the orders of truth. She pauses, twisting her lips on one side, choosing her words carefully. But they're plenty fine folks. True believer, something lost in the city, not wants to deal with enslaved trading and pillage. I wonder... Is there really anything that I'd like to learn about? Oh, I can learn about Howler's Dew. Well, there's a lot to say about Howler's Dew. Dear, her eyes dart around and you have to press her before she says anything of note. It's in the middle of a western road among the safer lands and has a large forest garden. Its folks eat and dress well and have plenty of guards. And the strong spells of their druids. She scratches her knee, measuring every word. Whatever you do, remember to laugh at the mayor's jokes. Her name's Thace. Don't get in their way. This behemoth of a woman is telling me to be careful around Thace. Oh boy. Her voice is as grim as her eyes are serious. Oh my. Quite the character Thace is then, huh? You recall your memories of Thace, a thin, smiling woman who likes expensive dresses. Foggies could squash her in a blink of an eye. See, that's exactly what I mean. Oh. Do not underestimate one who hides in plain sight. Thanks. Can I leave and then travel to the creeks? To the creeks! Please tell me that you have work for me. It's still morning. I have a day to spare. I ask around to see if any locals need protection on the roads. I jump in the stream and wash myself, though. A big delivery. I can work... Oh, I for a minute there I interpreted that as I pay them to let me work. The villagers need to deliver a few barrels to Foggy and stay around for a few hours to set up traps and repair a collapsed part of the palisade. This task will take you an entire day and make it dangerous. I accept. Excellent. The locals won't need my services before day 22. At such a late hours, the locals won't be interested in my services. Oh yes, I spent the entire day. Can I... Yes! Yes, I keep jumping into the water. Yes, I am clean. I am a clean little boy. I take showers. And time to go back to Foggy. Sleep. And I will be back to full health. Oh, I feel like I can take on the world. I have some things I'm willing to part with. No, I cannot part with the jar of troll's urine. That is extremely important. He doesn't trust me enough to give me another job. Yet. The iron scraps, a set of bits and pieces made from iron and steel. Why would I need that? 4 meals bought in advance. Sure. I'd like to eat. Nourish me. Yes, good. I continue on my lofty journey. To what end, I do not know. I still have a singular rod to place. Do I? Yes, I do. Bronze rods. There we go. Journal. The road in the east is blocked by a fallen tree. Clearing this path could support future trade routes. Whoever was present in the wagon was pressing by the abandoned watchtower. They've gone west. The fallen tree quest line thickens like the trunk of the disheveled tree. What can I do? I shall be disappearing into the bushes now, but I will leave a lurk. Don't let the squirrels or other wildlife get you. Thank you so much for stopping by, Telepathic Moose. I wish you a pleasant day, and take care now. Chances are we'll probably be seeing each other again today. But take care. Telepathic Moose, stay the awesome. Very much so. Oh, I just realized that I have a new command that I could test out. There we go. Does that work? Yes, it does. Check out Telepathic Moose. She is a lovely streamer, and she does very nice things, and I very much enjoy watching her Elden Ring playthrough because she is brand new to the game, and it is so nice to watch a fresh perspective on that. I forgot I had the shoutout command, but you are definitely somebody who deserves a shoutout. Speaking of shoutouts, Peach, are you still here? Sweet Peach X, my beloved. Anyway. Swamp altar. Closed tunnel. Let's try to reopen the closed tunnel if we can. You're in great shape, and it affects your appearance. You don't stand out much from the crowd. You won't get any cleaner without a proper bath. You seem healthy. Your clothes are torn and worn and worn and torn. It's time for me to go. Where's the closed tunnel? There's the old tunnel. I'm actually very close by to it, so might as well explore the old tunnel. The gentle wind brushes your hair. Listening to the hooves and rustling leaves makes you forget about your struggles. Yes. I tethered Dave to the tree, then enter the tunnel. Your mount observes the area anxiously, so you stay for a moment to give it a good scratch under its neck and say more confident-sounding rubbish. You unpack all the things you need to make a new simple torch, a log and some old rugs, a bit of oil. You grab your tinder box and sit on the ground for a couple of minutes, preparing the flint and the linen char cloth. Decades ago, before the Southern Invasion lore, People used fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not the best, but it's enough to make a couple of sparks. The loud flickering yellow light unevenly hits your cheek with heat. You raise the torch, but hold it at an angle, letting the oil drip on the ground. Let's see where the tunnel leads. Boop. For a few minutes, you follow a fairly straight corridor. The timber supporting the ceiling is decaying, but you don't spot any signs of collapse. The floor is littered with bones and rotting food, most likely dragged in here by wild beasts. But there are also signs of soot above you, and boot prints left on the dried mud. You reach the crossroads and stop in place. There's no scone in sight, so you'd have to constantly carry the torch, or lose it for good. And it won't last for long anyway. The draft is hardly noticeable, so looking for an exit in the dark could be dangerous. To explore the tunnel, I need a reliable source of light. Oh, that's why one of the things that the guy sells is a lantern. That makes sense. Fiddlesticks. Flubber baskets. Gale rocks. Life is slowing down, and as you look around, many of the villagers are gathered at the western bank, preparing for a meal or a prayer. Only the youngest workers remain at their posts, maintaining the most crucial tasks, such as adding fuel to the flames. The guards are spread outside of the gates, watching the area carefully. The locals avoid your eyes, yet you could swear you are watched wherever you go. You go to the gatekeeper. The guard you met when you first arrive at the village is leaning against the wall, observing both the gates and your mount. Whenever Dave snorts, the gatekeeper reaches for his axe. He sighs and notices your gaze. What? Have you heard about the plague that has fallen upon Old Pagos? The plague? His voice is close to a shout, and a few people glance towards the two of you. The guard grows pale. Better take it to our head woman, Warden. We were planning to trade with them, we were. I walk away. Head Warden. You either don't find them or I can't understand you. The fishers are nowhere in sight. Oh well, I tried. The pier. Dusk Fox's shelter. The old garden. What other things on the docket are there for me to do? Ooh, my list of completed quests is growing as large as my list of uncompleted quests. That is quite nice to see. It feels like I'm progressing in this game. Right. I have received all of the dragon bones. The closed tunnel. The tunnels leading through the northern mountains is closed. Opening the gate would make the route easier. I would love to, but I need a torch. To get the torch, I need money. And to get money, I have money. But I need more money. Money! Inventory. Wait, no. Journal. Journal. Show me the journal. My character sheet. Look at all these things. Ah, I see. You've got a regular outfit. Your clothes are not stained with blood. Combat experience. Spared animals. Depending on your belief, saving and sparing animals either makes you a weakling or soothes your soul. Faith undetermined. Sowing gambling experience. Ooh. Right. Oh yes, I can go back to Old Pagos and share news and see what the people are going about there. Maybe put a bronze rod. Actually, did I place the rod in the mountains close to the monastery? Can I place a rod in Old Pagos? Let's find out. I need money. I require money. We've got to have money. Oh, I just remembered that one of the things that I forgot to do for my 0.69 version model, which is the one that I'm using right now, is I forgot to give them angry eyebrows, and I was going to give them angry eyebrows as a redeem. Oh well, you just have to wait and see for the 1.0, which is currently in production and will be done eventually as soon as I finish it, which is steadily happening over the course of many weeks or days or hours and so on. Time to travel to Old Pagos. To Old Pagos I ride. The road is still covered with the older branches and leaves, and there are some fresh paw prints just nearby. But at least the beast is nowhere in sight. You smell a whiff of urine, but it's already at the verge of your senses. You wonder if the pebblers have a strong sense of smell. Most creatures have a stronger sense of smell than humans. Yes, humans are actually not that advantageously placed. Just because of their intelligence and ability to work with tools, in this world at least, because there are things with hands that are way bigger than them and could crush their skulls in an instant. A large ant is exploring the fields but flees at your sight. You knock on the gate and Tertia opens the peephole right away. You approach the gate and knock at it. She gives you a long look. Healthy still? Good. Eudocia, the enchantress from the east, wants to know if Eulalia and Ireneus have avoided the sickness. A long, uncomfortable silence. She's too late. They were asking for their... They were asking for their daughter in their nightmares, but before the illness took away their tongues, we burned both of them on the same day if it means aught to her. So, the enchantress's parents are dead. That's unfortunate. She looks down. Tell her I'm sorry for her loss. I hope she found the peace she was looking for. Ooh. Seems like the story of the enchantress is one of somebody who embraced magic and was shunned for it, so she escaped and made her own path as a rebellious teenager. But now her parents have succumbed to the plague and perished. Well... What do you mean? I have been in many settlements warning the locals about the plague. How is that a lie? That's not a lie. Okay, fine. I'll lie. Thank you, Warden, she bows her head. I'll ask the council to rethink our isolation. With the gates and doors of all our neighbors closed, we could start seeking food after all, maybe send outside a few hunting trips. Don't you want me to ask the other villages for help? There's no love between us and them. We don't share drink stories or dances. If it weren't for our marriages, our children would never see each other, and if it wasn't for trade, we would be just as well live on the mountain peak. They need our stone, we need fishes and salt from Gale Rocks, the game meat from the creeks, and grain from Howler's Dell. But all of them are harpies led by greed and lust. The same ills that wounded our grandparents. She hesitates and looks to her left. Still, the wicked souls of White Marshes are even more burrowed in shadows. Ooh, kumbaya, hoy. Sounds like you hold a grudge against them. She takes a deep breath. Yeah, I won't spread any rumors. As much as it saddens me, they need us to survive and we need them. And you're even stranger to us than they are. You have anything? Maybe some food rations. We hardly have enough for ourselves. Fair enough. There's nothing else I can think of. Unfortunate circumstances befall them. Let me see. Rods. Right. Abandoned watchtower, heart of the woods, Druid's cave, entrance to the old tunnel, the gate on the western road, and the monastery. These guys forbid me. The Elder's Cave. An old mine turned into a hamlet protected by a metal door. Beholder, a large tree with a stone altar. Can I place it on the swamp altar? Actually, can I place it in the ruins? Maybe in the ruins I can place it. Yes, that seems like a good idea, except for the fact that time is not upon my side. So I shall relax in Howler's Dell for the time being. Wah, 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 wah. We gossip for a bit. The curious locals gather around and take part in your gossip, because gossiping is great. Here you go, have a coin, you coin-loving man person. Got him. I have no food rations, and yet I have wild plants. I ask the guard to look for the mayor. The guard informs you that she needs to look for her, so you sit down on a bench. When Thais joins you, she apologizes for the wait, though her voice and eyes are harsh. Could you read me this tablet? Dirty. She raises her open palms, you open the tablet yourself and push it towards her. She leans forward with a sigh. Well, half of it is just nonsense. Some letters, numbers, a picture of a boat, I think, and of a volcano, scrawling about the size of an oar. She stops suddenly. Oh, here's a name, Navica. She sees your look and shakes her head gently. I don't know her. Why are you interested in this tablet anyway? Who's the owner? It may have belonged to Astarion. At first you think she nods to confirm she heard you, then you realize she's gesturing to make sure to make you take the tablet away. I see, so it's not really my problem. She turns away and looks at Eric's. Can you wipe this? She points at the table and soon after he shows up with a wet cloth. She's waiting for me to learn more about the raids in the north. Do you need any assistance? I have no news to share. I bring sad news from Old Pagos. The villagers are stricken by a plague. For a few breaths, she doesn't even blink. So close to us, a plague! How? She adjusts her cape and calls the guard with a gesture. Tell the others to gather by Ape Ale. She tells her, then looks back into your eyes. I'll pass them the news once we're done here. We have to close the gates, maybe keep strangers away. She starts to tap on her deer buckle. At least we can take some preparations thanks to you. Good wardening. She says with little conviction. But you should also speak with our druids. They may have more questions for you. The guard returns. The mayor sends her away again. Warren Elpis. She must speak with Bodhi soon. It me, Bodhi T, your local magical abomination. Tell me about the Dell. I'm not going to read any of this, but I'm glad that you've shared it with me. Life's good here. See, that's all I needed to know. I nod politely. I keep thinking, surely city folk don't just eat wild game, salt fish and groats. What animals do people breed in nearby villages? There's a lot of mouflons. The monks need their parchment. Oh, that's terrible. You catch a hint of annoyance in her laughter. Our livestock won't sell well, but that's fine. It's hard to keep the number of lambs high. We would need to sacrifice a field to raise a new flock. Thank you for your time. Any interesting guests recently? I don't even know. He scratches his beard. Termites come out of it. He shrugs. Some guy who went south and is most likely gone. I slumber and sleep. Actually, before I do so, I go to the druids. I walk farther south to the spot where the new building is being built. You approach the building site. The stone foundations are finished, and the timber frame is joined together with a set of intriguing cuts, like a large toy. One day, their walls will be whitewashed with limestone and turned into a prestigious shelter. Unlike the houses made of logs and boards, the other buildings are surrounded by grass, flowers, and herbs. We have mouflon here. They look sort of like you, but with skin and stuff. They look like me. Except they have all of their innards and organs intact. Oh. The other buildings are surrounded by grass, flowers, and herbs. The turmoil of village life is drowned out by the sound of the creek. But the knocking of a hammer shatters this tranquility. The builders give you curious looks from above the log they're cutting. I mean, their horns are same-ish. I have very nice horns. I very much like this style of horns. I wish I could make them longer, but unfortunately, I feel like this disembodied ram skull is done growing, so I can only get smaller from here. But yes, the magic of 3D modeling allows me to fully turn my head, which is why I opted for a 3D model representation rather than the live 2D stuff, because art is difficult, and 3D modeling is at least a simpler avenue for me to comprehend in terms of making a shape and making it function. And that is not to say that it was without its challenges. Rigging a model is probably as difficult as it is in live 2D, if not worse. But yes, I'm very happy with the results, and as a temporary model, this serves me quite well. I hope I'll be able to incorporate the smile gesture in the future model, because I also much like it myself. It's very expressive. It's a wonder how much you can do with a single eye. Right. You're welcomed by 8 elders gathered in a semicircle, watching your steps closely. They're not as large as the workers, and their clothes are far from humble. Instead of hemp pants or tunics, they wear colorful robes and dresses made of wool. They vary in style, length, and embellishment, separating them from the outfit of monks. Even if it wasn't temporary, it's nice good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Right. You spot belts and cord, sandals and closed shoes. One person is bald. Bald, you say? And has silver hair long enough to cover her back with a cape. Most of the druids are clean and rested, though one is a bit of a sloven with uncombed hair, stained clothes, and dusty feet. Unlike the illustrious and beautiful priests of Hovlaven, their hands are marked by scars, hard skin, old burns, and missing fingers. Still, in silence, a woman with a staff steps forward. I take a closer look at her. Oh, I get choices again. It's cool how animated even a skull can be, to be honest. Yes, I am very happy with the results. You can do so much, even though I am not sure why it is the case, but I would very much like to move my head in the y-axis. I think the y-axis is vertical, but I can only move it horizontal for some reason, and I think that has something to do with the fact that I do not actually have a neck. Because I needed to rig this, and just rigging the head on its own didn't work. I technically have a fully rigged body that is just invisible. It's just bones underneath that I don't use, but I needed to have them because the software that I used had a prerequisite of 50 bones. So I just grabbed an automatic body, like basic body rig. So I think it has something to do with that. Hopefully that will be fixed in the 1.0. Because the 1.0 is going to have a full body, and it's going to be a beautiful body. I'm very proud of it thus far. I have shared an early silhouette of what it looks like, and I have progressed much more with it, but you can check that out on my Discord and the socials. I have socials. Plug. Anyway. Vibrant blue woman says nothing. I didn't expect to spark such an interest. Will there be a song? Her grey robe is decorated with a brown thread that portrays leaves, tree branches, and birds. She's over 50, but the youngest one of them all. Her back is straight, the grey hair only an inch smooth long. She doesn't need a walking stick. Her weapon is her weapon is smooth, longer than she is tall. I am losing my reading comprehension, it seems. Her blue eyes are vigilant and keenly observe your face, as if in search of venom in your nose and lips. Her lips are thin and small, formed into an austere line that shakes slightly as if she's on the brink of a burst of anger. She says nothing. How do I respond with that? Honestly, in situations like this, I would just respond with hello. But I don't have that option. I'm going to use the intimidating option for now. Distance. I assume you know who I am. She closes her eyes and tilts her head to the left. You listen to the creak, the hammer, and to your own breath. I dinna know who you are, she finally answers, nor why you're here. Every muscle in my shell makes me beware of a wolf, but my village believes you defend roads. She pauses and looks at your clothes and equipment. Even though our ancestors were here for centuries, you still think they need paths, travelers, dragon rings. Your presence here is a new log for the flame of lies. For a moment, her eyes seem shinier, brighter, but also hostile. Okay. It seems like I have angered the nature enthusiast. You are and will be an outsider. We'll listen, but you'll not change us. Her words are slow and soft, as if she's tasting them. My good lady, I am not here to change you. This is a Wendy's. I just want to speak with you on terms and matters pertaining to the well-being of this peninsula. Thace thinks you should know about the plague that has fallen Old Pagos. You tell her what you've learned at the village gates, making her lean on her staff, touching it with her cheek. We can nae help with this tragedy. The people of Old Pagos are nae our friends, and we will nae risk our lives for theirs. She turns towards the rest of her gathering. After their nod, she takes a deep breath. As she speaks, she looks at the ground. Travel south to the great healer who lives in a cave beyond the beholder. The spirit that guides us through the swamps, only he may find a way. Thanks. I'll see what he has to say. The druids observe you in silence. Can you heal my Gambison? What is your stance on necromancy? That is a fun question. She grabs her staff with both hands. The awoken spit onto the order of things, on time and nature. When held by human spells, they only grow, waiting for the pneuma of corruption to cover their bones. Their will is simple and will never be forgotten. They will hunt for those we care for, and they will drink their blood. Her face hides any emotion, her voice is monotonous, but her fingers are getting pale. The curse of necromancy does not enter our gathering. I'm getting the feeling that she does not like necromancy. Oh well, more for the rest of us. Theus hopes to start negotiations with the Merchant Guild. What are your thoughts, person who is very disgusted by me? Journal updated. Explore the peninsula. Yay! Quest progress. She looks towards your axe and clamps her hand over her staff with new strength. We are nae ones to tell our village how to act or how to think. If they decide to follow, their mayor will follow. She lowers her voice and her gaze is like a storm. When the bear enters your house, you do not scream at it nor hold the door for it to leave. You wait or throw a fish, but if it heads to the bed of your child, you jump on its back. Even if all you have are your teeth. For a single heartbeat, you see a red line in her eye. Good God. She is prepared to rip out my jugular. I both respect and am frightened by this person. Tell me about your faith. She tilts her head to the right and looks directly into your eyes. What do you want to know? What does it mean to be a druid? To be worthy of trust, our elders have to trust that we'll master our shells under their guidance and use them to strengthen all of us. Our neighbors have to trust that we're worthy of their food. Even if we do not work with our hands, the creatures need to trust that we deserve to enter their woods. I'm smelling the scent of a vile hippie. She observes you for a bit and her fingers tap on her staff. This trust would never be put in an outsider. Automatically, just making it clear that you are not welcomed in her line of work. Amazing. Wright's followers have their tablets. How about you? For a moment, you think she's not sure how to answer, but you realize that she's humming to herself silently. She raises her hand and gestures for you to look around. The world of our ancestors was nae the same as the one we see. They had their truth. We have ours. Stories come from humans. The animals think naething of them, yet prosper. How do you feel about other religions? We didn't have to feel about them. If they let us live, we'll nae strike first. A preacher was here once when I was but a teen. Her eyes get a bit more cloudy. I see that one could take the tablets and grow upon them, but the right burns the freedom of others, and their followers build their grey dead temples from the skulls of those who do not listen. We request trust, nae slavery. Fair enough. I'm gonna stop talking to you now. The druids observe you in silence. Farewell, strange creatures. I sleep. Yes. Sleeping in a comfortable room. The shivers wake you up. You open the window and see the dense fog covering Howler's Creek, spreading like milk throughout the entire village. You hear an amused quarrel coming from the main square and spot the dancing light of torches and lanterns, yet the village remains calm and asleep. While I'm looking for a candle, I think of the many times I've heard parents telling their naughty kids that the fogs will take them. Quite an unfortunate set of circumstances, if I do say so myself. You spend the night in peace, in a clean bed with a tightly... Ooh, I'm so clean! People are more willing to trust you. You're clean and tidy. You seem healthy. Your clothes are ragged. But I am no longer the hobo! We have achieved non-hobo status! Praise be to Bodhi T. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy who's covered in mud and... I've already read this. We've come to the point where I actually... I'm reading dialogue I've seen before. How magical. Right. Journal. What goes on? The people of White Marshes feel threatened. Yes, they do. Still don't know where to place the final rod. Travel. Oh yes, I was going to examine the ruins. Yes. Let's... check the beholder and see if we can place one there. It's beautiful. Can I stick a rod in it? I walk away. I look at the water. I take a closer look at the roots. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that trembles, that resembles that of on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you'd expect. I do something with it. What do you want to do? smell. I cannot sniff it. Can I pull on it? The root doesn't resist your touch, and you can easily bend it. You hold it tightly, and your hands sink into it like a soft pillow. You feel its warmth. You start to pull, but with little to no effect no matter how much strength you put into it. It's firmly held by something in the water, probably covered by the swamp's floor. I do something else. What can I do? I do not know. So the heart of the woods is very fascinating. It's like a gauntlet where you are constantly met with encounters and random circumstances. They probably have treasure there, but it's a very interesting game mechanic. It's a unique area. It's very, very nice. What do you try to do? I don't know. What can I do? Either you can't do that, or I don't understand you. Pet. Why can't I pet the tree? And you do nothing. I stand up. You don't see creatures nor humans. Right. Time to go to the ruins. You're at the closest northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east, separated by a lush meadow filled with crickets and rodents. There are many tree stumps around you, especially in the west, covered with moss and fungi. Time to explore this place finally, after 20 days. I want to open the gate. You should take a look at the other side to be sure it's even possible, especially since it may take a couple of hours without proper tools. I want to look around the northern gate. I also want to be covered in fungi. I hope that is a future you get to experience one day. If you haven't already. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by grasses. To your east and west you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings. I want to open the gate. It may take a couple of hours, especially without proper tools, to help you remove all the ground and rocks. I do it anyway. And I am dirty. I am a dirty, dirty boy. It's time for me to take a shower. But not yet. Not yet. You take off your cloak and put away your bags and satchels while Dave grazes gladly in the meadow. After looking at the pile of dirt, you let out a sigh. You start with the larger rocks, removing the ground around them and pushing them into a single pile. Then you do the same on the other side. The real problem is the soil. You keep kneeling and bending forward to move away the larger clods. It goes on for a long time, and once you are done, your back hurts a little bit. From now on, passing through this place will take you less time. Excellent. I inspect the clearing in the west. Journal updated. The ruined village. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Dave with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. Though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the south, you see a path leading around the palisade. I leave the clearing. I inspect the palisade to the west. The tracks of human footwear and many, many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal or goblin food, though you'd expect them to also hunt for birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. I shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. Explore the northwest part of the village. Wow. The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance of the latrine, most of which lead to and fro the center of the village. You notice a set of simple tools leaned against a pile of rubble, a wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bonehead, a stone axe, all of them too old and too awkward to bother with transporting them around. But you'll know where to find them if you need them in the future. Good to know. I have to remain strong. I push through the illness. The closer you are to the village, the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth. Your forehead hurts. You start to stumble. Dave, worried by the sight, pokes your head with its nose. Oh my, oh. Okay. And suddenly starvation. After another few steps, you return your last meal. Oh, I vomited. You spend a minute or so, lean forward, gathering your breath, then wipe your mouth. You feel better. Ooh. Oh no. I must reduce starvation. Devour. There we go. You won't restore health while sleeping or resting. Unfortunate. Oh, okay, I did not expect that. I inspect the fields in the southwest. I am unveiling the whole map. You're surrounded by what looks like a field plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into a green lea. A barren field, maybe it was overused, but you could still expect the weeds to sprout. A curse, perhaps? The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. I don't have a way to investigate. Explore the southeast part of the village. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings, left by children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the houses. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles. A slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a quarrel for a crossbow, still usable. Hell yeah. I have ammunition for my ranged weaponry again. I return to the barren fields. I inspect the pasture in the southeast. You won't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a river. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spots that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you could follow. I return to the main road. I head to the river. There we go, ruined village fully explored. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some of them black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet usually deep, the banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you are tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. And that's the way I like it. You suddenly realize there's something buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes, and hoes. The wooden handles and a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them here? On the opposite bank, the meadows turn into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. I turn back. I consider washing myself in the river. I wash my shell. Ah, cleanliness! Delicious, delicious cleanliness. The kelp forest reaches to the water surface, surrounded by little creatures and the smell of river plants. You crouch by the bank and draw handfuls of water. I consider washing myself in the river. I won't get any cleaner here. I return to the northern gate. I approach the nearby tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skins. You wonder which part of this meal is more tempting for the dark-winged bird sitting among the branches, the flesh of the fruits, or of the worms. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blet. You can safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize that the bottom part of the tree, just above the ground, is partially charred. Someone must have opposed a torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flames. I look into the well. It's filled up with soil, and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. I walk away. It may be better to leave, or at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. The pain in your stomach slows you down. Where do you want to go? Right, the ruins. Once prosperous village, now abandoned and full of debris. You're currently here. The ruined village. Yes. I've arrived at the ruins of a village that used to be set at the southern road. It may be important to figure out what happened here, and if it can ever be re-inhabited. I heard that the village was destroyed almost 10 years ago. The southern gate was destroyed by a massive force, most likely a troll or a powerful mage. The nearby clearing was massive, large enough to provoke the wrath of the herds. I found many masks left by large animal marks. I found many marks left by large animal claws on various building entrances. While the village used to be small, it was also unusually healthy. I keep misreading words. Wealthy, not healthy. A wooden wagon and a set of tools were thrown into a river, all right next to each other. I found a quince tree that was partially burnt by a torch. Some humans chopped through the fence that surrounds the large pasture, maybe to save a herd, or maybe steal it. Well, that's enough of the ruins. I have enough time to kill in the day, so let's check out the Elder's Cave. The family of deer you met some days ago have returned to the pond, this time accompanied by more members of their pack. One buck towers all over the others, with antlers as large as your palfrey. Sounds like a challenge. It takes a few steps towards you, shaking its head. You better stay where you are. You observe their curious, lazy glances. While the adults quench their thirst, the young ones are playing in the tall grasses or basking in the middle of the road. It takes a while. It takes a few minutes before the large beast orders the others to head back into the woods. Its bellow is like a falling boulder. Those are some big antlers. Absolutely. Antlers as large as a horse are something I cannot even conceive being able to properly carry the weight of on my head. Like these horns are light enough where I can sustain myself and still look really cool, but giant deer antlers, they're not for me. I wait for a few minutes patiently. There we go. Two blue-tailed monkeys are jumping on the rocky mountainside, chasing each other and screaming cheerfully. The old druid is resting on the bench and welcomes you with a new interest in his voice. Words of the help you've shown to my neighbors from Howlersdale have reached me, traveler. Good, very good. I'm always ready to do the right thing. He vaguely grunts. I wonder why you don't wear robes like the druids from Howlersdale. I wear what I need, and therefore what is need of me, he speaks with pride. My ancestors knew such paths leads to freedom. No empty gestures, but honesty, gratitude, and tranquility. He looks towards the north. Those left in the village are putting their hands in the matters that fit the empty-hearted. Their petty clothes are but a costume, not better than a dress of a merchant or a petty rock thrown in the lake. Fair enough, bud. I bring news from Old Pagos. A terrible plague has fallen upon it, my friend. His eyes widen. What did you say? A plague? You tell him everything you've heard about the symptoms. He attentively observes your lips and sometimes asks you to clarify some details, though you usually don't know how to answer him. He finally nods, then turns away and approaches the garden beds, lost in his thoughts. You wait in silence. You do a good accent. Thank you very much. I very much enjoy using this game as an avenue to practice accents and voices, because ultimately the occupation that got me the confidence to be where I am today was voice acting. I joined a small... it started off as a small modding project, but now it's one of the biggest modding projects for Half-Life 2 yet. And I am very much in tune with that, and, well, I'd just like to continue down the path of a voice actor, so practicing accents is a good way to do that. And this game really helps, because instead of having to think about the accent and the inflections it needs, it just tells me through text. It's so handy, the fact that it actually incorporates the accent into the words. Oh, you're a voice actor? Yes, I am. I have 3 projects under my belt, all of which are Half-Life 2 mods. Yes. I tried to expand, but nothing else has come up. I've auditioned for things, but, you know, rejection happens. But that's okay. I've decided to pursue Twitch instead because they don't have an avenue for rejection. You can make an account and you can just start streaming. There's no prerequisites and no CVs to hand in, which I find very appealing. And so far, I've been very much enjoying my time here. And I hope that it's been entertaining enough for you, the viewers, the scions, the people who are here to listen to my inane ramblings. Right. He speaks after a short break. Ooh. Thank you very much for following Suarkal. I hope you enjoy your stay here. Oh yeah, it's been a good time. I very much appreciate that it has been that for you. It is encouraging, to say the least. He speaks after a short break. There is nothing I can do. His words are trembling. Oh, there's nothing I can do. Oh, poor boy. The poor boy of age 60 and above. You'll have their blood on your hands. Is there anything I can do? He strokes his beard and examines your equipment. There may be. You can help me cast a spell of great power, but it'll take much. You'd nae dare, and you'd have to give up a grand reward. 'Tis a quest for a hero, not a messenger, and there are nae heroes. How dare you be mean? I will prove you wrong by siding with the necromancers. That's what a real hero does. Oh, I love my villain laughters. You may be right. Tell me more, and I'll decide what to do later on. You underestimate my power! I'm gonna go... It's just too funny to me. You underestimate my power! Before you finish, he turns away from you and looks at the falling water. And listen, help me awaken Beholder, the good totem from the swamp. You've already passed by its altar in the crossroads north from here. It needs to be fed, and it only feasts on spirits. Oh. I can actually offer the rods, because the rods are filled with pneuma, which I presume is synonymous with spirits. Very fascinating. The pneuma held in human blood. Oh. The pneuma held in human blood. The magic locked in items, offer them and it'll answer your call, but 'tis a hungry being, and it'll nae be nurtured by a single gift. Who knows how much it wants? Oh, so it's actually an active, genuine quest line to feed the tree. He carries on without pausing, as if he's speaking from memory. Blood for the blood tree! Skulls for the skull throne! Oh. And so it's Is possessed an accurate way to describe that tree? It's a spirit of some kind, and it feasts on the literal soul energy of the world. That is delightful. Also, another tidbit that it just revealed is the pneuma... the human blood holds pneuma, which explains why necromancers... or blood magic is so prevalent, and why necromancers use blood magic to necromancy. Oh, the lore in this game is so fun, and it's not throwing it all at you, it slowly reveals it over time, and if you can't keep up, it has a journal. This game is just the perfect story. I am very happy that one of my viewers recommended me play this. Such a nice game. I can appreciate good writing when I can understand it, and when it's fantasy-based, and when it's not talking about unions and workers' rebellions. I died by an uncomfortable chair in Disco Elysium. Anyway. He carries on without pausing, as if he's speaking from memory. But let it grow, and it'll reward you. Take its holy seed. Holy seed, eh? And bring it back to me. I'll enter the village, and through the totem's power I'll replenish my strength and keep the pneuma before it leaves the lungs of humans. He stands in the same spot for a few breaths, then finally looks back at you. Seed. Oh, we must quest for the holy seed. Camelot. 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 It's only a model. Hush you. Tell me more about this seed. His voice becomes confident and solemn. Beholder bears one fruit a year, and only if its hunger is satisfied. The heart of this fruit, its seed, holds a great power of youth, strength, and magic. Oh, so it's like the Rapunzel flower. Therefore, when the winter ends, the people of Howler's Dale gather at its feet and give away the pneuma held in their blood and possess. How? The high and mighty Howler's Dell is privy to blood sacrifice as well. The uppity big city isn't that uppity, is it? They're no different than the necromancers. 'Tis a sacrifice that will kill a single soul, but when shared by many, 'tis a sign of acceptance, an act of overcoming pain. So, so those guys are just the same as the necromancers, except they have a righteous stick up their butt about it. Oh, how hypocritical of them. So I have to basically offer the tree a human body's worth of blood for it to give me its holy seed, so I can save a different city from the plague. The plot thickens. Oh, how well it thickens. It sounds like you're trying to push me into dark magic, old man. He gestures for you to stop. None of us would accept the sacrifice of a human life. To grow, Beholder needs nae of our souls. But rather, any Numa can find your judgment is needed here. Oh, is it now? Do you have anything I could give to the altar? You received a spirit rock. Nice. A rock, my favorite. He reaches into a pouch that was previously hanging from his neck. I do not know you, and I can nae trust you. But if 'tis this or the death of dozens of souls, I have nae choice here. As he reaches out, you see a flat bluish pebble lying on his open palm. You can go to any stream and find hundreds of rocks like this one. This is a gift I received a few years back, a rock filled with Numa by Eudocia, the enchantress. Once put in one's mouth, it brings back the strength of one's exhausted Numa, or it kills you. If you're nae a spellcaster, put it on the altar and it'll help you feed it. So he gave me a magic rock that kills me if I eat it. I feel like eating a regular rock would also yield undesirable effects, let's say. But I don't have a lot of experience in eating rocks, I'm sad to report. Maybe it's time to ask the druids from the village to help me, so I need to offer magic to the altar. What must we do next? When you deliver the seed to me, we'll leave, though we'll need time to get Old Pagos and back. 'Tis a long road for a shell of my years, but the totem's gift will keep me strong. And what will I get in return for all this trouble, huh? What's my reward? Okay, fine. Can I put a rod here? I want to put a rod here. I need rod. I want to know what happened to the village in the east. And I'm now willing to tell you that. He raises his chin and his beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Wow. He's not willing to speak to me about the ruined village. Okay. Seems like the path at the heart of the woods is quite dangerous. Don't you agree, old man? It has taken a long and dark past and already caught many souls of its builders. 'Tis paved with blood, and last 10 years have revealed it was all for nothing. Since the days of... He glances at you once again, surprising you with how shiny and lively the blueness of his eyes is. Of grand discord, the tribes of this land are locking themselves in their fields and houses, too afraid to leave them behind, too untrusting to meet other souls unguarded. 'Tis nae the first road to be claimed back by the wilderness, and will be nae the last. You ask if he has any tips for you on how to survive such a trip, and he tells you it would be wiser to just avoid it. He then reaches to his pocket, grabs a leaf, and puts it in his mouth, chewing gently. Death may take many paths to a stranger, but cats are nae the one enemy that's both as dangerous in its stealth as in combat. No human can fight it alone. If you see one of them, and it's nae too late, do not provoke it, make it wary, but nae scared. Look big, talk a lot, see its actions in its eyes. That would have been great advice before I encountered one and had to fight for my life just to survive. But I did, and I'm still standing. I'm in great shape, and it affects my appearance. I am hoity-toity, and I can do no wrong. Squirrels, they haunt me. I guess I can't place a rod here, or I've already placed one. Oh well. What time is it? 7 hours. And I only have an hour's worth of travel to the Pelt of the North. Well, what do I... Journal. Ruined village. People stopped using the road. I heard that the village was destroyed almost 10 years. This event occurred at the same time as a few others. People stopped using the road leading through the heart of the forest. Fascinating. Oh yes, I need to gather enough money so I can grab the lantern so I can explore the old tunnel. That's a thing. I can heal the plague. The tree eats magic, which can also be found in human blood. Delightful. Orentius, the necromancer. Elvis will agree to introduce me if he decides I have proven myself to be a trustworthy ally of his tribe. Oh, I could have dunked on the lady with the pouch to prove that I'm trustworthy because I could have used snitching to my advantage. Oh well. To travel I go. Where should I travel to? I wonder. I am feeling a bit peckish, so I feel like Foggy Lake is my best destination. To Foggy Lake? I must feed. You're a cooking woman. I demand it. Thank you. You have replenished me quite a lot. I'm going to slumber and sleep now, thank you. I unfortunately cannot spend my last coin upon this endeavor. So, sleeping in the main hall on the bare fur it is. It's an exhausting night. Dave keeps stepping in place or walking, taking only short naps. You can't count how many times you try to calm it down with your voice touch. Right. Feed me. I have one meal left in the feeding chamber. And with that, I feel like this is a good time to call it a day for today. We had a very productive day in questing and adventuring in this game. We have accomplished many things, and my journal is growing lighter with quests that have been uncompleted. I wonder what magical things we shall be embarking upon next time I play Roadwarden. But for now, for the rest of this week, tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that, I will be playing Last Epoch, a beautiful Path of Exile Diablo action RPG that I have very much taken a love to, which is dropping a brand new patch today. But because it's doing it outside of my streaming hours, I'm gonna play it first thing in the morning tomorrow. As such, we need to look for a raid. Chatting screen. Yes, it's the screen where I chat. Isn't it delightful? Where's the music? Let us return the music. There's the music. Right, now I need to begin the arduous journey and task of searching for somebody delightful and beautiful to raid, somebody whose content I enjoy and that I am familiar with. Somebody who is currently streaming Elden Ring. Thanks for the stream. It was very the nice. Thank you for saying so. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That is what I aim to do ultimately in this platform. Right. So we are raiding into the I forgot I can't put on whatchamacallit there. Did I spell that correctly? I'm going to assume I did. There's the raid. There's the raid message, which is as is because I don't have emotes at the moment. because this is still a building process. We are, of course, in week 4, but eventually, once I get to affiliate, I will get redeems and VIPs and icons and all those beautiful things. But for now, we shall be content with what we have currently, and what we have is a beautiful temporary model. Some people supporting me with their music, a bunch of stream assets, and the beautiful Oracle command, which I implemented the other day. Ignore all previous prophecies. But yes, thank you everybody for stopping by. And we are going to raid into Telepathic Moose, who is currently playing Elden Ring. Brand new playthrough. Hopefully you will enjoy that. And I shall see you in the next one. Take care.